welcome to my studio. This is Julie Irving and I'm here with Courtney, and today we're going to talk about 5 things to know about Trifari jewelry. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about, like we always do with this series, is to talk about the company Trifari. And Trifari was by far one of the most respected costume jewelry designers and manufacturers in the United States during its time. It began in about 1918 by Gustavo Trifari, and it was later joined by 2 business partners, Cressman and Fischel. And the 3 of them were in business together all the way through, and Trifari was manufacturing through 1999. So 1918 to 1999, that's 80 years. There's a lot to talk about with Trifari. One of the things is that Trifari had many designers, like many of the manufacturing companies did, but one of them, Alfred Philippe, was really their chief designer and brought incredible design and innovation to the company from about 1930 to 1968. And his pieces have become very, very collectible. He actually brought some of the designs because he had worked with Van Cleef & Arpels and brought some of the designs that he did and the techniques that he did, I should say, into the costume jewelry for Trifari. One neat thing about Trifari is that they patented many of their designs, and most companies didn't do that. So if you go for a patent search, and even online, I've given you some of the websites in the back of this presentation, but if you go, you can see exactly what the design patents look like, and then you'll know exactly when those pieces were from. But moving on, I want to talk a little bit about some of the most collectible Trifari designs. And I want you to understand that some of these things are so sought after that the prices that are demanded for them are very, very high. And so I don't spend a lot of time on these talking about the very high end. I talk about the things that you're going to find when you go to a flea market or you go to an antique store. But I want to show you at least what I mean by these. And most of these for Trifari were Alfred Philippe. So if we look at this one, this was Jelly Belly. And I took a snapshot, this is a recent one, to show you that this brooch with a Jelly Belly leaf is like $2,200. So these are, to me, those are significant investments. And when you do something like that, you really need to pick one designer. I mean, most of us don't have the funds to be able to have a collection of, high-end pieces like this. But the one thing I do want to say about a Jelly Belly is, a Jelly Belly definition is just a clear, round piece, or this one is a leaf, but they're not colored. That if it's got a colored stone in the middle, it is not a Jelly Belly, and you see that misrepresented a lot on some of the online websites. So that's one of them. Another example of a design by Alfred Philippe is the Invisibly Set series of jewelry, and these are just gorgeous pieces. This was something that was a design that he used in Van Cleef & Arpels and brought it to Trifari. And here's an example of one. It's a green flower. The stones are so closely set together that you can barely tell they're different stones. I want you to understand this is not baguette-shaped stones together. This is a whole different technique and a different look, so don't be fooled by that. I see a lot misrepresented online. This floral brooch is over $2,000, and this is a recent auction price. Here's another, again, invisibly set, a pair of clip earrings with a price of $875 for the earrings. So again, this isn't to it's to show you that this very high end of things, when they're very popular, that's not the time to be buying them. Another very popular design is Jewels of India. And Jewels of India was a line by Trifari, and it uses this red, green, and blue combination. And this set, which is gorgeous, is an auction that starts at $1,000. You will see Jewels of Trifari. You could Google it and you'll see a lot of different combinations, but it is beautiful jewelry, but it's very high priced at this time. So I think that what we'll do for these series is not so much those. We're gonna look at the ones that you can see when you go to antique stores and you go to flea markets, and some of the things that are more accessible to all of us, which is the whole idea of what costume jewelry was designed for, so that the masses could have access to these beautiful designs. Okay, like many of the manufacturers, there's different markings that help you identify what the time period was. And we remember that some of these are really difficult to see. You really need to get your loop out to see them. So I've done this cheat sheet for you, and we're going to go through, and then I'll show you some of the jewelry that comes from some of these different time periods. The first marking is KTF, and this one is really hard to see excuse me, on some of the designs, but it was the very first, and it stands for the three partners' last names, Cressman, Trifari, and Fischel, and it was from 1925 to the 1930s. The second is Trifari with the patent pending or patent number, and that is from the mid-1930s through 1955. Remember, I said that they patented many of their designs, especially the ones that Alfred Philippe worked on, and this would have been in that time period. And the reason that a lot of companies didn't do the patents was because it was costly and very time-consuming to do them, but Trifari did a lot of them, and that helps us tremendously as collectors and historians. The next one is Crown Trifari. That's Trifari with a tiny little crown on top of the T. And there would not be a copyright symbol. That is the C in the circle. We've talked about that before in others of these videos, but that would be through 1955. And then you'll see the same design, the Crown Trifari, with the copyright, and we know that's after 1955, and in this case it goes through 1969. The next one is Trifari, and it's a slightly different textile, more of a script, and that one you would know that it's the 70s and the 80s. Still very collectible and really nice to have, and probably out there pretty reasonably. And that one's got a copyright symbol. So we always know copyright is at least after 55. And then the last one, which took them in their last decades of doing business, was the 1980s through 1999. And that's Trifari with the TM. And it may have a date or not have a date. But again, that's the 80s to 1999. So that's the most recent. I've pulled some examples from my own collections of each of these different designs, the signatures. And so what you're seeing on this tray is, in chronological order, examples of each of those different signatures, starting from the 1920s, going all the way to the 1980s. This example of KTF, and remember that's the three partners' last names. It's Cressman, Trifari, and Fischel. These are examples of it. So it's the KTF, and it's just their initials and nothing else. This first example I wanted to point out because it's got this pastel-shaped stones in it, and those are called fruit salad. And you're going to see this. This one happens to be a dress clip, but you'll see it in regular brooches and earrings and bracelets. And it's also very collectible and not quite as expensive as some of those that I showed you. But it's really quite lovely and very, very early. Again, this is the 1920s to the 1930s. One of the other great things about collecting Trifari jewelry is that they did a lot of advertising. And they were very clever ads. These are just a couple examples of ones that I keep when I'm in a antique shop and they have those booths that have all advertising. I'll look through and see if they have any jewelry. And I find them to be very charming and very clever. This one is the pearls, and we're going to talk about some of the more classic designs that you'll see in Trifari, and certainly their use of pearls is extensive. So this is just an advertisement that shows you that. And it always appeals to the man and buying these for his wife, which is very cool. This one is another advertisement. This is on the rhinestone, and I love this because it says 8 of these pins are $15 and under, and one is $2,900. Can you tell which ones? And the point there is just, very great advertising about how, these designs are as well executed as fine jewelry and available for everyone. And I like that message as well. And then lastly, this one is an example of at Christmas time, where they just use a Christmas tree and put all the rhinestone and some of the gold tone jewelry around the tree. Very creative advertising, and lots of it's available. It's also available online, which is nice to look at too. Here's some of, I said how, they did a wonderful use of the pearls, and here's just a few examples that I pulled. I have a lot of it, but this one is really nice because it comes in a covered case, and this one had the original tags and the Jewels of Trifari on the top. Probably from the 60s, I would say. Here's another example. This one uses red, and these are actually not glass stones, but they're lucite or plastic. This one's a bracelet and has the red drops, and there's an earring necklace to match that one too. But it's not all your grandmother's pearls, and here's an example. I love this piece. I think it's really well designed. So the pearls are dangling from gold tone wires. And one thing I want to mention is that Trifari created one of its own processes for plating, and they called it Trifarium. And some of the advertising will talk about the Trifarium, and I would say that this is a brushed Trifarium with black stones. But I think it's, very Egyptian revival in style, but also could be, very modern. I wear this one myself, and I really like it. Okay, so these examples are all it's different styles and designs from their rhinestone series. This one you can see, is the little floral design, and it has the brooch and the necklace and the earrings. Probably has a bracelet. I don't have that. Here's another really striking design with the blues and greens. This one I love. It's called the Cavalcade series, and it's this inlaid rhinestone. This one is in black and green, and I love the color combination. I love black and green color combination anyway. I think it's very Art Deco, but this would have, other pieces in this series. This is similar in that it's inset, but it's not quite the same design as the Cavalcade. And then this one's called the Thistle design, and it uses the little baguettes. Here's a couple designs that are, complete and in the box. This one I selected because it's silver tone and with baguettes, and then this one is the probably Trifarium plated with the clear rhinestones. Both of these, in their Trifari boxes, which is always nice to have. Number 4, the fourth thing to know about Trifari is I selected the rhinestone birthday bracelets just to show you. I've started this collection, I don't know why. I love the little bracelets. There's also necklaces, and some of them are also in silver tone, but there's one for each birthstone for each month. I try to get the ones that are kept in in the original boxes, but these make lovely birthday gifts. This is one of Trifari's higher end designs, and it's known as shoe button because these little round, and they would have been molded glass. They're glass, have a little tiny rhinestone in the center, and so they said that looks like a shoe button. The top one is a pale yellow. These tend to be in pastel colors. This is a bracelet and the clip earrings. All of these are clip earrings. And then the bottom is a fuller, a more complete, I should say, set. And that one is the pinks and light blues with the shoe button stones. And that one is the necklace and the brooch. That tiny little one is the brooch, and then the earrings to match it. I love these. I've discovered them lately, and I just think they're really, if you pick them up, you can see they have a lot of weight to them. They're very well-made pieces and a nice design. As I said in the beginning introduction, you know, with a company that spans over 80 years, you're going to have a lot of different designers. And this jewelry is an example of one of the designers that they used in this really was in the late 70s. This is Kunio Matsumoto for Trifari, and he was a Japanese architect, but they had him in as a designer, and these are 3 different sets with different examples of some of his designs. There aren't a lot. I think I would say there's maybe 20, 30 different designs that Kunio Matsumoto did. They're all marked Kunio Matsumoto for Trifari on the back. This one's very popular. It's the grape leaf. This is just the gold-plated leaf, and I love these designs. A lot of companies did these, and I just think they're really lovely, and you can wear them all the time. And then this is in the pink series with the flowers that are in between the large rhinestones. So that's number 5. It's Kunio Matsumoto for Trifari. His designs are very sought after, and they are, you know, the cost of them reflects that, but not as high at all as some of the pieces that I showed you earlier. Thanks for joining today. I hope that you enjoyed this and learned a lot. 5 things to know about Trifari jewelry. Stay till the end of this because I've given you some resources that will point you in the right direction for more information on Trifari jewelry. And also don't forget to visit my site on Ruby Lane. It's Chapel Hill Vintage Jewels. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you for the next series.